Our next author is Clare Connelly. Clare self-published her first novel, The Italian Billionaire's Betrayal, in May 2014. Since then, she's self-published over 80 books. Yeah, you heard that right, 80 books, and has sold more than 1 million ebooks worldwide. A collection of her indie books are available in audio in some foreign languages, with more on the way. But that's not all. In 2016, Clare accepted a book deal with Harlequin and now has over 40 books published with the Presents imprint. She also writes the Cape Hope series for Tully, sweet romances set against homespun, small-town American bookshop. She now has 120 books to her name and counting. Here's Clare to tell you more about her amazing publishing journey.
I've been making up stories forever. I remember putting myself to sleep by imagining elaborate fairy tales or what-if adventures, spinning tale after tale in my mind. As a girl, I would write stories and draw my own illustrations. There was never so much pleasure as stapling pages together and creating a book. As a teenager, some girlfriends and I became obsessed with the band Hanson, swoon, and like many devoted Hanson fans would write what I now know is fan fiction to each other about the brothers, putting ourselves front and centre in these rock star romances. From writing these short fantasy scenes for our eyes only, it wasn't a big leap to writing a book, and I finished my first full-length category romance when I was 15 years old. It was a Mills Boon meets The Bold and the Beautiful, starring an arrogant alpha male designer and a beautiful heiress/model. I printed it off, wrapped it in pink ribbon, and posted it to the editorial team in England, who very wisely rejected it. I had a fair bit to learn about life and writing back then. I never stopped writing. Even when not actively putting pen to paper on a book, I was sending friends long, detailed emails or working on blogs, remember blogs, until finally, in my early 20s, I decided it was time to get serious about finishing another novel. I started off slowly. I believe that writing is a skill like any other. The more you do it, the better you get at it. Initially, I set myself a target of 800 to 1,000 words per day, but once I found my way to the stories I really loved telling, I didn't want to step away from the keyboard. The words came a lot faster, and once I'd finished my first book, my confidence as a writer really grew. I always wrote romance. It's what I love to read, and writing it feels instinctive to me. Once I decided to write with the serious hope of publication, I changed how I read, picking up books and analysing them consciously. What works, what doesn't, why is this scene so powerful? Where did all the conflict and tension go? I continued reading, learning and writing, and after a couple of completed manuscripts got up the courage to submit a book to Mills Boon. It was also rejected, but the good thing, and I know it might not sound like it, is that it takes months and months and months to hear back once you've submitted a book. So by the time I received the dreaded rejection email, I was already almost finished with my next book and ready to fire it off with all fingers and toes crossed. By now, I was on maternity leave with 2 small children, and I would have to squeeze writing into the gaps of my life. I wrote when they napped, but that didn't always go to plan, of course, so it involved a lot of discipline. Setting my alarm to wake up early and get some words down, writing late at night, doing whatever it took to hit my daily word goal. I was pretty hard on myself, treating my writing as a serious profession long before it became that. I reached a point though, when the repeated rejections, I think I reached 5 maybe, really got to me, and I was very close to hanging up my keyboard for good, until my husband and sister convinced me to try self-publishing. This was midway through 2014, and self-publishing was still largely in its infancy. I did a bit of Googling and figured I didn't have anything to lose. Fast forward to the end of that year, I was selling thousands of books a month and was an Amazon All-Star in the UK and US, which means I was selling enough to be in the top 25 and 100 Amazon exclusive authors respectively. It was, frankly, mind-blowing. In 2016, I met with a fabulous senior editor from Mills Boon and was offered a 2-book contract, which really was a dream come true. I've now written more than 40 romances for Harlequin, with more in the pipeline. I think one of the hardest things about the journey to publication is self-belief. Writing is so incredibly subjective, and we really are our own worst critics. It's easy to believe it won't happen for you. But the truth is, if you keep writing, keep improving, there's never been a better time to get your stories out there and connect with the right readers.